Have Leicester City just dealt Birmingham City a big reality check? There's definitely been a couple of issues with Birmingham this season, and I do think they really did show in this game against Leicester, up against a top Championship team, which are going to be up there come the end of the season. With whatever happens, with or without the points deduction, Leicester will be right up there come the end of the season. If you're a Birmingham City fan, if you're a Leicester City fan, do hit subscribe on this channel. We do daily Championship content, and we talk about your teams pretty much every single day. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, as I say, if you're a fan of both of them clubs, do hit the subscribe button, and as well, that drop a like if you enjoyed, and let's jump straight into it. Now, of course, Leicester City running out 2-0 winners against Birmingham City, and honestly, it was quite a comfortable win for Leicester. I think they were quite happy to let Birmingham City sit and have the ball. Birmingham had 55% of the possession, the majority of the possession, and honestly, if you look at it on XG, Birmingham had the better XG, and Leicester had 2 shots on target and scored both of their chances. But I spoke about this in the preview to the game. I said Leicester have that individual quality where if you don't take your chances, if you don't create enough chances, and as I say, when you're on top and if you don't get yourself a goal, Leicester have that kind of quality that can just punish a side. And as I say, you can put in an alright performance, which I'm not saying that Birmingham City put in a good performance by any means. But what I'm saying is in general, Leicester don't have to play that well, which in this game, Leicester didn't play that well. Leicester haven't played well all season long, but they have that kind of quality, which we'll talk about, individual quality in a second, where they have that quality where they can just hurt a team, even though they haven't been dominating the game, they haven't been in control exactly of the game. But I'd say Leicester, it was a very well-managed performance. As I say, for Leicester, from a Leicester City perspective, as long as you're getting the 3 points, that's all that matters, right? But you've got to look at performances as well. They need to improve on their performances, which I'm sure will come. They spoke about on Sky with kind of, they started the season slow under Enzo Maresca when they were last in the Championship, and then as the season got on, they did play better, and then, I mean, they did have a couple of blips here and there. But for the most part, Leicester played very well and dominated the Championship, which so far in these first 4 games, I think every Leicester City fan would agree they haven't dominated the games and they haven't been all too convincing. But this one, I'd say they definitely had control of the game in terms of the fact that they let Birmingham City have a lot of the ball, which is what Birmingham do. They do like to dominate possession. And at the end of the day, Birmingham didn't create enough and when they did create, didn't take the chances, which was a kind of a recurring thing with Birmingham over the course of the season, which we'll get into a bit later. But as I say, they have that. Leicester City really controlled the game in terms of they were happy to sit back. They were happy to let Birmingham have the ball. And they got the early goal and they got the goal that was late. I just want to start off by talking about Abdi Fatah. I mean, he's 21 years. I didn't realize he was that young. Like, this guy is still a very young talent. And the way that he's been playing over the last few seasons now, of course, he got that bad injury in the Premier League, which there's no doubt if he didn't get that injury in the Premier League, Leicester City would have been a much better outfit and they wouldn't have put up such a kind of pathetic display in terms of their survival chances, their survival kind of season. Last season, the Premier League, if they had Fatawu fit, it would have definitely been a different story. They definitely would have got they would have been at least a bit more competitive. And I'm saying this now, if you're a Premier League club, you've got to be looking at this guy, 21 years old, so much quality, cutting inside onto his left foot, 2 goals now. It's like you know what he's going to do, but it's so difficult to stop it. We saw it against Charlton. We've seen it again now against Birmingham, where a Premier League club, has got to be looking at this guy and thinking we should be at least putting in a bid or something with us and seeing how much we can kind of get him for. Because what a player he is. And as I say, he's got that individual quality that he showed it against Charlton. He's now showed it against Birmingham, where he can just turn it on out of nowhere. Really nice goal. I think for the goal, by the way, I think honestly it was poor play from Peck, who I mean he kind of waited, he kind of hesitated between him and Laird. Then the ball ended up going to Fatawu, where Laird kind of, I mean, he had to kind of block the outside. He was kind of hoping that Pate would get the inside. Didn't happen. Pate kind of overcommitted. Fatawu turned him, got it onto his left foot, and it's only going to be one outcome when he gets into that situation. He's absolutely deadly. And as I say, that was a poor goal to concede from Birmingham so early on. And as I say, Birmingham had a lot of the possession, didn't create all too much. Ethan Laird had a decent chance from a free kick, from a demarai free kick, which got deflected. Other than that, there wasn't too much I can remember that was really too dangerous from Birmingham. I think Kyogo, again, really destroyed. I don't know if Birmingham are really playing to his strengths and they've got to grips with getting the best out of a player like Kyogo. Of course, he has struggled at Rennes. He's had a difficult time and he's continuing, you'd have to say, having a difficult time at Birmingham. When he's had his chances, he hasn't really taken them. And as well as that, it just seems a little bit kind of disjointed in terms of the link-up and in terms of getting Kyogo, especially in that game, and getting Kyogo in behind. I don't know if Birmingham are particularly playing to his strengths. And obviously, I think for me, the main part of this Birmingham City performance, when I was watching it, is Jay Stansfield not being there. I really do think you noticed that. I'm not saying that Koumas was bad or anything like that. Obviously, he's a young lad. He's just come in. Is Koumas a signing where, as I said it in my video when they signed him, I think, is it a signing that screams that they're going to go and get promoted. And I don't think it's too much of a statement sign in terms of that he's a 19-year-old lad who struggled at times at Stoke last season. Had good spells, yes, but as I say, he could do very well at Birmingham, but I don't know if it's a sign where you think, are they really going to be pushing for promotion, really going for the league? I thought with the other signings they've made, I thought they could have maybe signed somebody else or something a bit more kind of proven. But as I say, they might bring somebody else and come the end of the window. I'm sure Birmingham will bring in at least another transfer come the end of the window. But as I say, I think Jay Stansfield in that kind of number 10 role, where he plays in and around the striker, Jay Stansfield, I really do think Birmingham missed in that game that kind of tenacity, the energy levels that Stansfield's got. Like, he has that kind of bite in him where he wants to make something happen. You can see that he's giving 110%, and that's obviously a big reason why Birmingham fans love him. And I think that was a big miss tonight, not having Jay Stansfield there. And as I say, he brings that energy. He's very good at pressing as well. I think he really does bring a lot to that Birmingham City side, and 100% they did miss him. I was disappointed in the midfield. I think Iwata and Pate struggled. Overall, as I said, I think Pate for the goal, definitely, he'll be very disappointed with himself with that. At the back a couple of times, passing it at the back, was a little bit questionable. I think also a few questionable passes where I'm like, sometimes you just kind of got to go long in situations. Clara as well almost gave the ball away as well. A couple of dodgy moments at the back. And as I say, Leicester, it was a very professional performance, and they knew exactly what Birmingham City were going to do. You could probably say Birmingham City were quite predictable in the match. And you have to say, as I say, from Leicester, I'm looking at it and thinking, like, this team's got so much quality. Is it really the best that, they're sitting back and they're letting Birmingham... Like, it did feel like it was that kind of game where Leicester were really just happy to sit back and let Birmingham have the ball, which, as I say, they got the result and they got the win. But for a team of Leicester's quality to be playing that kind of way is a little bit... I'm a bit questioning a little bit, but as I say, I can't really question it too much. The fact that Leicester did get the win, and they very much, you have to say, did deserve the win on the balance of it. And a little bit of controversy is the fact that I think the Kyogo got fouled, and it was by Ricardo Pereira who came on off the bench, who of course went on to then score the winner. I personally think it could have very easily on another day been a red card. I think the ref kind of caught how bad that tackle actually was from Ricardo Pereira. And by the way, I mean, what was he even complaining about? He had the cheek to go up to the referee and basically say it wasn't even a foul. Like, I'm sorry, mate, but that could have even been a red card. Like that, we've seen them giving it was high, studs were up. And honestly, I do personally think that could have been a red card. And then you're looking at a completely different game, because at the end of the day, Ricardo Pereira was the guy who went on to score the winner. And I mean, Kyogo was the one that got fouled there. And honestly, for me, that should have been a red card. And they will not be happy at the fact that Birmingham City won't be happy at the fact that the guy even went on to score the final goal to kill off Birmingham in that game. And Tommy Doyle did alright when he came off the bench. I think maybe brought him on a little bit too late. Since Tommy Doyle, they had a bit more control of the game, and before the goal, Birmingham City did have a bit of pressure on Leicester City, where they looked to be threatening to come the end of the game, and it would have been interesting if Leicester didn't get that goal, because Birmingham were starting to push, you felt. But as I say, disappointing how they conceded that goal on the counter. But Jeremy Monga, you've just got to pick him out for that kind of quality. He's just turned 16 years old, and to have that composure, not even just to put in the ball, and it was an unbelievable cross to Ricardo Pereira at the back post. It was to have that level of composure in the build-up, to chop it back, to take a few extra touches. A lot of players might have just flashed at it or just tried to dribble straight towards goal and fire it across the goal. He had the intelligence just to play the ball inside, get a little 1-2, and then even have more composure to cut the ball back, to then whip it in. It was fantastic. And as I say, I've spoken about Jeremy Monga numerous times on this channel. Serious talent. I mean, 16 years old. It's an absolute joke, isn't it? When you look at the kind of individual talent that Leicester have got, when you have him coming off the bench at 16 years old, being able to pull out something like that, that was completely made by Jeremy Monga, and what an assist that was from him. And Ricardo Pereira, the guy who probably, in my opinion, should have been sent off, goes on and then gets a second goal, which completely finishes off Birmingham City. So I'd say Leicester City, you say overall it was a very solid performance. Defensively, they were pretty comfortable, to be honest. I think Birmingham, of course, had a lot of the ball, but Leicester were happy for that to happen. And overall, that Leicester defence, certainly on commentary, Vestergaard didn't really get tested all too much. Kyogo didn't really make too many good runs in the channels. I think it's a couple of times there's balls that could have gone down the line, where Kyogo was a little bit maybe slow to get down the channels to kind of get on the end of them passes, for an example, for an osayi Samuel on that right-hand side. And I think Kyogo, a lot of fans will probably have question marks over him right now in terms of he's missed the chances when he's got them, and in the game he was pretty ineffective in this match overall as well. But still very early days, and it is, you might say it's a little bit of a reality check, yes, but at the end of the day, you've still got to take into account Birmingham are a newly promoted club from League One. Do I think they'll be up there come the end of the season? I still think they'll be in there, in and around the playoffs come the end of the season, maybe even higher. Because you got to think if Leicester do get that points deduction, which, what's going on with that, by the way? I mean, it was all the talk at the start of the season. Leicester are going to be getting, 8 to 10 points, whatever it is. where's that? Like, where is that? We'll start the season now, they're sat in third. I think Leicester fans will probably just prefer to have the points deduction, or like if it's all like kind of looming over, I think they probably prefer to have the points deduction, not have that over their heads and know kind of what task they've got at hand. It's all a little bit still up in the air, and it's not ideal really 4 games into the season that they kind of have that situation. Who knows? I mean, the Leicester lawyers seem to be like Man City's lawyers. They seem to just get away with anything by how it's been over the last few years in terms of points deductions and that. And they seem to be dodging things left, right and centre. Who knows, they might continue to dodge it, and then if they do dodge it, you've got to think that Leicester team has got to be top 2 this season. Now, the only reason why people put Leicester in their predictions, I feel, outside of the top 2 is that 8 to 10 point deduction, because it can obviously make a big difference. But you look at individual quality in that squad, they're right up there in terms of right at the top, and there's a reason why. You know, they got promoted last time they were in the Championship, and they were a Premier League team last season, because they got some real quality players that can hurt teams. And as I say, looking at the league table now, of course it's Friday night, we've got to have the games we play. Birmingham will probably drop a couple of places, you'd imagine, maybe down to like 8, 9 or 10, somewhere around there, which, as I say, has still not been a bad start for Birmingham. They've had a very difficult start in terms of the fixture. I think, obviously, first game of the season against Ipswich, they were unlucky not to get the win in that game. You could have argued Birmingham should be 100% win rate going into it. And then against Oxford, I mean, I know they didn't score more than 1, but they were still very comfortable in the game. Blackburn, 2 late goals. A little bit disappointing in the last 2 games, I'm not going to lie. But it's still very early days, and I do think the Birmingham will go out and address some things maybe in the transfer market, at least maybe 1 or 2 signings come the end of the window. Of course, deadline day fast approaching now. We are expecting Birmingham City to get a little bit more activity, and I think definitely a wide player. I think Williamson. I think they need another option in that kind of area. Of course, they've signed Koumas, but I think maybe just one more option in that kind of area as well, and maybe another sign as well. Let me know if you're a Birmingham City fan where else you're thinking, maybe a left back, somewhere around that kind of position, or full back or something like that. But let me know where you're thinking in the competition down below. Of course, very disappointing, but Leicester are top side. It was away at the Kim Power. It's difficult on a Friday night. It's still very early days. 7 points in the first 4 isn't bad in the slightest. Yes, things could be a little bit better going forward. Yes, things haven't clicked. The new signings, some of them haven't exactly hit the ground running. You think it's fair to say, especially the ones that have been on the bench, it's been difficult for them to kind of come in and really make an impact. But as I say, it's still very early days. Players have got to get up to match sharpness as well. Hopefully, Jay Stanfield's back soon. As I say, I do think he was a massive miss for Birmingham in that game. And as I say, that kind of energy, and he brings so much to that Birmingham side, which maybe a Koumas doesn't, in terms of the tenacity. And he is loved by the fans, Jay Stanfield, and he's a top player. And as I say, if he comes back very soon, hopefully, I think it's maybe out for a few weeks, I think he said. Hopefully he'll be back after the international break. We'll have to wait and see. And as I say, still very early days, but it is a very good win for Leicester City and a statement win for them. And we'll see what happens with their points deduction, but it has been a decent start. The performances haven't been unbelievable or anything like that, but they've got the points on the board, and that's the main thing. And I do think Leicester will come into it as the season goes on, if they do keep hold of Fatawu. And as well that they've got Bilal El-Kanous as well. They've got so many options and so many quality options with some real quality behind them. Sumara had a really good game as well in the middle of the park. So as I say, there's a lot of quality at Leicester side. There's a lot of quality in this Birmingham side, but it was just a difficult game away at the Kim Power on a Friday night. And I don't think there's too much to overreact about. As I say, alarm bells are there in terms of going forward for Birmingham City, in terms of that attack, in my opinion, and chance creation, and then taking the chances as well. But hopefully that kind of get addressed as the season goes on. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. It would be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Only takes 1 second. If you're a Birmingham City fan, if you're a Leicester fan, if you're a Championship fan, do hit that subscribe button. If you watch this point, you may as well hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.